You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip, 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 Drip.
This is White Noise. Sorry for all the preamble again. We were explaining how the sausage gets made, and now we've gone into 3 different tangents.
Drip. I'm so, one more tangent.
Go ahead.
One more tangent. You mentioned movies, film, cinema, and I mentioned on the show that I did get some promo items, some press items from the release of Jordan Peele's second film, Us. I did some digging.
Oh, you found it?
And I found a couple things. This is the first. I want to frame this thing because when Us came out, they did a lot of they worked with a lot of original artists to make like renditions of the family and the themes of Us. So there's like this image, this like signed, I guess, poster image, which is dope. But like this, the eye with like
the rabbit's eye, yeah.
That shit is hard. No, that shit is hard. But and I'm pissed because this box is kind of, it's like a little crushed. You can kind of see the Us, but
is that the scissors? I would see you just talking about recording with your wife. I would hide those.
Again, like I said on the episode, like see how like delicate this is and whatnot. Yeah. Like realistically, I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to pick it up, but like it's just like a regular pair of scissors. Like they just kind of painted them.
The production designed.
Well,
no scissors really look like that unless.
Well, these are like old scissors. Like these, like when you're doing like cutting a fabric.
Yeah.
But like the image of. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why they sent it, but it felt just like shit that my grandmother would knit with. Anyway, I found this the other day. I had to find it and share it because this is White Noise. We just finished up 3 whole episodes of movies, film, cinema. I don't have the video loaded.
Yeah, I was about to say we have to clear storage because we have too much.
We're done. That again, youtube.com/blackrass. And if you want to see parts 1, 2, and 3 of Drip's journey through all the movies he's seen in the theaters, movies, film, cinema, 3 parts. Check it out.
Yeah, and we're kind of back to wrestling now because there's not much in the movies. Again, I just referenced Don't Worry Darling, like, so that's
you did you see that?
No, I listened to the podcast because like I said, it'll probably be on HBO Max by Thanksgiving. I imagine so.
Maybe
I'll
sooner,
probably watch it then. Be like, I didn't care to hear the spoiler. I was actually interested in like, is this what I think it is?
You didn't pay attention to any of the Spitgate and all that?
No, I was following on, but I was like the twist of the movie. I'm like, all right, I have one idea, so let me hear the Sean Fennessy and Amanda Dobbins break it down. And like when they told me the when they broke down the twist, I'm like, oh, I didn't expect that at all.
I don't even know the twist, but I can only imagine.
It was very
I can only imagine. Piece of Sean Fennessy, though. That's my guy.
Yeah. What was he? He dropped a wrestling reference on the episode I listened to the other day. Yeah. It was in the 1980s comedy draft.
Makes sense.
He had said like, "Is this your heel turn?" or something. He had referenced in past episodes. He's made references before. Because this is an idol of mine, and this is a coworker for you. So like
I've not spoken. I've had a couple of conversations, but I feel like he's one of those guys who, when you said the -- draft episode,
I had an offline conversation before about his fandom being more in the 80s. You know, he's dropped. When he's talked about like John Cena and Dave Bautista, he always still calls him The Rock, even though he's Dwayne Johnson. Again, like Black Adam's The Rock, like so he's still aware of.
Fingers crossed, Black Adam.
Oh God, I don't even get. Yeah, that's why we're kind of in a rut right now for movies until Wakanda Forever at least, and by then we'll have done
movies is back.
Our Black Panther watch along by then.
That's a whole month and a half though.
It's about 2 months.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's literally.
Did you see the new the TikTok of like the extra footage they had shown? Banks had sent me it the other day. It was like someone's phone capturing new footage from might have been
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't see that. I didn't see what black Avatar was looking like.
That's the thing, and then we get I don't want to call it real Avatar after, but yeah. But it was, so again, we were kind of back into what the first few episodes of White Noise were, which were wrestler spotlights about wrestlers I was interested in talking about, whether I was a fan of them or weren't. In the case of Cody Rhodes, even though I don't like to spend too much time on people I have a strong dislike for.
Word.
But last week we had a conversation about Carmelo Hayes. It's interesting to see how this week's NXT played out with Solo Sikoa being stripped of the title, only for it to be up for grabs in another ladder match in which Carmelo Hayes will be participating.
He's in that match, right?
Carmelo Hayes already has a spot guaranteed. Yeah.
He gonna get that title back?
If he does, just like what a waste of time the Solo Sikoa thing was, just to get, because again, they if it was just to get a photo op of them with all the titles at Vegas, like you didn't need to do it like that.
I will say this: if they're using a photo from that press conference from Saudi Arabia to build to Bloodline facing somebody at Survivor Series, I'm okay with it, but living through it, it feels really weird for Solo to win the title, to get stripped of a title, to then potentially Carmelo's going to win that title back real soon. It doesn't feel necessary, but I understand if they wanted to elevate Solo. It just, I kind of wish that if he had that title, he would have that title for a bit and not have literally the next week. Because he walked out on SmackDown and he got the belt and it looked weird.
And again, we're not going to get. We'll probably save that more for the regular show. They're pairing him and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn more up as a duo anyway.
Makes sense.
But yeah, we talked. What's next for Carmelo Hayes? And I'm like, it's the main NXT title. He'll be going after Braun Breaker, and it's like, nope, he's back in the North American title picture. It's like
they don't know what they wanted. I think, but it's September. What's the next big pay-per-view? Survivor Series? Like they're probably in like a real holding pattern until
and they're in the hard reset of 2.0, going back to
exactly
black, not even black, white and gold. Even though the old set's the old set, they probably haven't fully revamped that yet, but they probably will be going to.
Shawn Michaels NXT is what I'm calling it for right now.
I mean, that's what it was with 2.0, to be honest. But a wrestler,
he's still that guy though, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's more, and again, he's the on-screen commissioner or general manager in that, because he was the one who had the whole Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes. You must give the title back, but you have to compete for this title. It just doesn't go back to you segment at the beginning of the show.
Right.
And on this week's regular BRP fam had asked what's next for Orange Cassidy when we reviewed AW Grand Slam. And I was already kind of playing in an Orange Cassidy episode to begin with, but I think now would probably be the time, given how he didn't win the All-Atlantic title like I thought he was going to, like his fan had thought. Yeah, this man, who a lot of people say I have a similar resemblance to for a number of reasons.
Do you wear denim with like drawstrings?
I bought a pair of like denim joggers. It wasn't a good pair. I need to try and find a better pair. It was to wear at work, not to wear, because I'll just wear regular jeans. But I do like wear skin tight jeans. You've seen me in public.
But I will say this, like, it's a difference between like a form-fitting pair of Levi's and like
denim joggers, yeah,
a $20 pair. Because if you're gonna go the denim joggers route, you have to find like the top quality. Because some of those shits just look like sweatpants with.
That's what this pair I had. Like the pair I bought, it looked bad. I'm like, and it was from PacSun where I get my regular jeans from, and they fit so good. I'm like, oh, these will obviously fit the same, man. And like, in the pair he basically wears on AEW Weekly is like the pair to get, like, in like it. But he's got knee pads underneath them. But well, if you go back and watch him in like 2019, 2020, he has like almost a basic pair, because.
But you know what that is.
His style is so different from then than now.
But compare. You're right. But compare your life before you had a regular, steady paycheck. So what, like there's things you could afford to buy when you have like you may and I'm gonna be so basic. What's your soda of choice?
Dr. Pepper
You could buy
or Sprite. It's one of those
cases of Sprite. You could go to the store and get a case of Sprite and a case of Dr. Pepper and not have to worry about life. You know what I'm saying? When Orange Cassidy was first coming out, maybe he had to get like great value Sprite or
I think that especially with the sunglasses.
No, that's what I'm saying.
The biggest part of his matches is like people breaking the Ray-Bans, and I'm like, Ray-Bans aren't cheap,
But when you're Orange Cassidy, who was frankly, I didn't know about Orange Cassidy until the video with the blender with the contract where where it was official, like he was going to. I didn't know who he was before that, and I heard from.
And then at Double or Nothing, he competes in that Casino Battle Royal with Tommy Dreamer, and we have that image.
And shines. But I'll say this. My point was, when you're getting a regular check and you're on TV regularly, like the top quality denim joggers are so easy to cop. Like $45, $60. Yeah, I can do that. I know in 2 weeks that direct deposit is going to be straight. He can get all that shit. He can get what you say he was wearing Ray-Bans.
Yeah, all the aviator Ray-Bans. That's again like every angle is someone like
that's
either him throwing the glasses at him or like them stepping on the glasses. I just rewatched him versus MJF and like MJF breaks the glasses, and same thing like him and Pac, like their feud is him like breaking the glasses, and like again like him on the indies, I think he, much like I did for a couple weeks, had just like cheap regular Wayfarer type glasses that you would buy, just a regular black pair from Hot Topic or whatever, and then probably have the one good pair that you don't damage these are the real ones. Like
that's what he's wearing out of the plane into the
these
hotel.
are like these are the pair like I don't wear these to work. I wear the cheap ones to work, but I wear these when I'm about or recording, but
when you're trying to shine, no, I get it. I 100% get it. I just it's easier for him because he has steady income. If he was working on indie checks, he wasn't rocking.
And that's the thing. Like he would just
the Ray-Bans wasn't coming out.
Didn't know him, and I really didn't either. Even though someone like me, you think would follow the indie scene heavily by being a fan of like PWG and trying to catch ROH.
Right.
I only briefly knew a little bit about Evolve. He was kind of there too. But famously, before Orange Cassidy, he was a fire ant in Chikara. He was like, that was a stable of like a group of people like in these ant costumes, kind of like Power Rangers.
He wore a mask?
Yeah. Because he's like trained in lucha, I believe.
I can tell.
The style of Chikara was like British grappling, lucha, and something else. And then they booked it like a comic book.
Right.
Or like an anime. Like a lot of their storylines were like serious, but with comedy themes and like kind of some supernatural stuff. Almost similar to Lucha Underground, but And again, I'd only ever seen a few episodes or a few matches of people in Chikara, and I think I maybe had seen like the ant stable he was in before, but when I looked him up after the Double or Nothing Battle Royale, when like and he just throws these soft kicks at Tommy Dreamer and then Excalibur. Well, it wasn't even. I think Excalibur at the time who was commentating. It was whoever been like, "Oh my God, he's lighting him up!" Like, Tommy Dreamer is helpless to these kicks. They just oversell these soft kicks, which is like how you wrestle a baby. Like, "Oh, I'm kicking you. Oh, I'm kicking you." Like, but that baby's just standing there laughing. Like,
that's a thing now because he had a match recently with somebody, and like it's Pac. It's just a spot. Him kicking them like that, it's just a spot at this point.
So right away, again, I was hooked. Like, what's the whole like? So what's this about? Then like he just doesn't do moves, and then he'll break out and move out of nowhere. It's like, oh shit! So like, and they play it up like it's his mind games. Like he suckers you in by like, oh, I'm not even touching you, and then like boom, springboard stunner type stuff. It's he had said, as I was doing more research over the course of the years, like that the character of the driver from Ryan Gosling's Drive was the main influence for
that Orange. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like it's that, but to the extreme though. Like it's this, but it's like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. It's almost like if Disney had made Drive, that's what Orange Cassidy is.
Right. I didn't realize.
I have an idea for the end of the episode, but yeah, it said he had like taken inspiration from Drive, which is like if Ryan Gosling's not wearing that scorpion satin jacket, he's wearing like a denim jacket instead, like in the regular life. But when he's not doing this, but
just to be clear,
I'm
calling it the Gosling update. When I got the email, I was like, of course, it's a Ryan Gosling image up in this. But anyway,
but you're like, what's that have to do with Orange Cassidy?
His face.
The haircut,
all he needs is the stonewash jeans. Like that's really all you need, and that's Orange Cassidy right there.
And again, like, the whole point of Gosling and Drive is he doesn't talk. Orange Cassidy again's like, yep.
Like, that's the most minimal. Yeah, the most minimal. Good stuff. I like. I didn't realize I would be such a big Orange Cassidy fan, but I think part of it is he's so committed to what he is as a character, and B, like you mentioned, Lucha, you mentioned Fire and all, like he's been training, and you can
he's a wrestler. I think again, it's almost the same way like how Santino was an actual wrestler, but on WWE's main stage, he just did the comedy stuff because that's what he was there to do, and that's what got him over, and that's what got the pops. And the Orange Cassidy, again, the biggest break was him and Pac at Revolution in 2020, which was my match of the year. And famously, like the whole point of that feud was Pac saying, like, Orange Cassidy, you're not on my level. You don't take this seriously. You're just a joke. Like it was that whole. And famously before the match, like best friends said no, this time he's gonna try, like because he only had like 2 or 3 matches on AWTV in which like he was just again doing his soft kicks and then would kind of roll and and then turn it on. But they like that started that match, like he's rolling out of the ring to escape, and then Pac runs to the other side, then he rolls back, and like the camera cuts in, and he uses comedy in wrestling better than anyone.
Word. Probably
the only other person I guess would be like a Kevin Owens, but it's like the trash talk aspect of it. Like he's not doing comedy spots.
Once the bell rings, Kevin Owens is pretty busy.
Goes.
Yeah.
But he'll do like again the headlock and talking trash or all the other stuff.
He ain't doing this though.
Yeah, and he shouldn't either, because the whole point of Kevin Owens is like he might look like some regular guy, but he'll fuck you up. Like
right. Orange Cassidy is very much trying to figure out the angle because this is very unique. Because Orange Cassidy is only so big, but he's a very good, like, technical, knowledge-based, unskilled wrestler. He's gonna do the fuck shit to kind of try and break you down. Yeah. But at a certain point, the whole thing is once I turn it up, once we're 20 minutes, 25 minutes in, I'm gonna show you what I can do, and hopefully one of these flips, one of these missile drop kicks or whatever I'm doing is going to slow you down to where I can win it. It's very smart. It's like
it's similar to Driver, like the unassuming guy. Like
right.
The whole time, like Ryan Gosling's character in Drive is like this great driver. It's not until the robbery goes wrong and these people try to storm the hotel he's in that like, oh, this guy's actually like a killer too. He's not just this great stunt driver. And then he stomps a dude's face in an elevator. It's like, when Orange Cassidy like has to get started, like he'll get started, but until then, it's just like, which is also like an action movie trope in itself. Like,
right.
The whole point about John Wick is like they robbed the wrong guy. Like,
and even then, it's John Wick. He just wants his car back.
They see him, like they just see this guy with this nice car and this dog, and they're like, "It's a nice car." Like,
what I'm saying,
you should give it to us. And then when like they beat his ass and take the car and kill the dog, like. And he's like, wait, whose car? Like, and John Leguizamo was like, whose car is that? And they're like, just some guy's like, no. That's not just any guy's car. Like, and then you see fucking Keanu Reeves with a sledgehammer
beating ass. I love that.
Yeah. Shit. And Orange Cassidy, if they had done like training montages of like him throwing soft kicks.
Right.
And like,
he's right there though. I think you're not
like him like doing jump rope. Like with his hands in his pockets and like
that's what I'm saying.
Soon, Orange Cassidy, and then like he wrestled
Get best friends to swing the fucking rope. He'd be sitting there jumping with his hands in his pockets. Yeah, you're not that far from that. Give him a real deal AEW World Championship match.
He had it.
He had it before. Give him the second match. And that match, you give him the montage. He's already faced Moxley. He's got to build that up. So he's with
no. He was supposed to face Moxley was the thing. That's a match that has long eluded me in terms of like matches I want to see in AEW. There was a famous incident. I was almost going to send this image, but it might have been like the first Dynamite of 2020, where like Moxley's facing Trent.
Okay.
Then Orange Cassidy gets in the ring with his like again the hand in the pockets, like like trying to buy Trent some time, and John Moxley's like, "Oh yeah," puts his hands in his pockets and like barks in Orange Cassidy's face, and it's almost like an image of like the angel on your shoulder and then the devil on your other shoulder. About these two guys, like the angry version of Orange Cassidy would be John Moxley with like these, combat joggers and boots. And the bald head, like it's a hilarious image. It's one of my favorite moments in AEW history because he just like puts his hands and like, "Oh, is this what you want to fucking do?" And he just like he does the Stone Cold Steve Austin look.
Yeah, he's got it. No, that's smart. That's actually very smart.
Supposed to face each other in the semis of the AEW title eliminator.
Recently,
before Full Gear last year, John Moxley pulled out in the second round and entered rehab. Miro took Moxley's place and faced Orange Cassidy instead. So this is a match that's kind of been brewing to me for a while. And now that Moxley's champ, I'd like to see this. And that's the thing with Orange Cassidy. He has the famous match with Pac at Revolution, and then they kind of run it back a year later, this time with Kenny Omega. And this is Orange Cassidy, again, challenging for the title. Or the whole point of him and Kenny Omega prior was, again, Kenny Omega being like, "Orange Cassidy, I like you, but you're not fit to be champ." This is when Kenny Omega was doing the belt collector, and I know what it takes to be a champion. You can't be a champion, and I respect like Kenny Omega can be silly like Orange Cassidy can. Kenny Omega likes to do all the comedy spots as well, and they had that triple threat at Double or Nothing, which was a great match as well. Like the chemistry between Pac and Orange Cassidy is up there in terms like how Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston kind of never had a bad match in a way, or like. That's AEW's version of that is Pac and Orange Cassidy. They just had to get a Grand Slam, and this was almost like the perfect time for Orange Cassidy to be crowned champ. And this was one of the times where AEW just like failed to pull the trigger. I mean,
I don't think they're ready for all that yet, though. I don't think they're ready for that at all.
And and that's like, what do you mean by that? As someone like him with a belt? Like,
I think at a certain point, AEW is cool with characters, right? Like I think the reason that we remember someone like Orange Cassidy is because they're really good at letting us know that this person is important, because when they wrestled John Moxley made sure to put his hands in his pockets, and they had that confrontation. But like at a certain point, you're still like, again, this was 2 years ago. This was the other day. Like I at a certain point,
every time Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lock up, they do the hockey fight spot.
No. I feel you, but I think because again, and you fucked up just now, Drip. You brought up Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn just got an honorary Oos T-shirt. Like they've been able to say, all right, I know 2 years ago, Sami Zayn was like the guy that Bryan Danielson would wrestle to show that Bryan Danielson can still go for a Royal Rumble. I understand it. But in the interim, Sami may have held the title, but even still, he's been working towards being an honorary Oos. In that 2-year time frame, aside from being a best friend and having really good matches, have you felt that Orange Cassidy's progressed?
Yeah, because a lot of not the complaints, a lot of the criticism, and not in an egg way, people will just say like he needs to be more serious. Fam has said it. Again, just in a way, I think Fam's a fan as well. I think a lot of the criticism is just he needs to be serious. Like it's not even like I guess it could be the Big E comparison.
I think that's I think that's valid.
But it's also like then at that point it's not the character, and then like you just want him to be a guy who talks all the time. I mean, in the last year he has progressed. He does talk a lot more.
He's able to speak more, yeah.
He gets started the match a lot quicker. The stuff with Pac is again like they'll always have those go-to spots. But like with him and Jay Lethal, like kind of mini feud they were having, they got started kind of right away. I mean, same thing like when he faced Ethan Page right after All Out, and when he challenged Wardlow at Fyter Fest, he did a little bit of the comedy spots. And again, they brought in Danhausen, which is, I guess, a negative aspect in terms of like he'll never be serious because they kind of hang around the most
comedy, yeah.
One of the most unserious wrestlers there is. Mm-hmm. Someone like King Trey will say that Dan isn't even a wrestler. So
damn, he wrestling now, right?
I think he's said it on our show before when we've talked about Danhausen, but Orange Cassidy doesn't need to be serious to me because it just works for the character he has. Is again this guy who speaks when he wants to speak and will wrestle when he wants to wrestle. And not even in terms of like, I don't want it to be a thing where like, he's just like, we're having a match tonight and I'm going to go out again, like like the whole point of his character is that he doesn't speak and he'll wrestle with his hands in his pockets.
A regular pro wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's basically kind of what Chuck and Trent are in that way. I mean, their dynamic has worked a lot better in like PWG.
There's a couple of rows.
Has an AEW, and I think AEW's kind of botched that a little bit with them early on. Like a lot of acts that they couldn't get momentum going again after the show started. But Orange Cassidy's someone whose momentum has continued to rise through and through. And I mean, I watched him versus MJF last night when he challenged Cody for the TNT title, and that went to 20-minute time limit. And it was the same thing over the course of the match. Cody's like, I'm just going to beat this guy again. He's not serious. And 10 minutes in, Orange Cassidy like, no, I'm here again. Like, I'm here to win and all that. And his feud with Chris Jericho was the same thing. Granted, they did like he dumped the orange juice on them, and then they wrestled in the mimosa match in which whoever got put in the mimosa vat.
Chris Jericho made him valid though.
Yeah, he needed someone of a big time name to bring the recognition to. I mean, again, as much as we love Pac as a wrestler, and he's not bad on the mic, but he's not someone who's going to put someone over like that to the mainstream. Even though AEW's audience is just wrestling, real hip hop, as we like to say. Someone like Chris Jericho, who has the sports entertainment credibility, you to put someone who more or less is a sports entertainment type character when you think about it, but not really, because I mean, I mentioned Santino and Big E, and as much as the New Day were comedy acts, I mean, in Hell in a Cell, they fucked the Usos up too. Sure, they brought in symbols and all that, but like they were ready to go to war. The whole point of that feud was like, as much as they had like the rap battles and all that, like when the bell rang, they went to war, like kill or be killed. And I think Orange Cassidy in the last year has gotten to that level. The booking aspect is just they've kind of made him a star on Rampage, or like as someone who kind of carries that show, which they just really need. That's why when I went to see AW Live, Rampage was taped that night, and it was him versus Arya Daivari in the main event, and you see like how a match with him and Arya Daivari is pretty good, but like Arya Daivari and the Trustbusters are like, again, putty, the Power Ranger putties, they're adobos, they're
the
nobodies.
Trustbusters is crazy.
Yeah,
I hate that name.
The whole point of that match was for Sonny Kiss to betray the best friends, and like again, they did nothing with Sonny Kiss after that. Sonny Kiss didn't even compete in the trios match the following week, which was what it was setting up. That's a whole nother issue, but like it's like Orange Cassidy was being put in this position to like give these guys credibility now as threats, but it's like, but you already know these people aren't credible threats. That's why they're grouped together. It's
almost it's almost like they're together for a reason.
Yeah. But the biggest takeaway is after the show went off the air, they brought a kid into the ring to do like a send off with the best friends in Orange Cassidy. Like if you have the image of the kid dressed like Orange Cassidy, in a way, he's their John Cena, and that's what I mean. Right? You have to push this guy as a champion at some point.
Look at Drip putting himself over. Look at Drip, a little Drip over there with his hand out for Orange Cassidy. That's crazy.
I'll probably be going as Orange Cassidy for Halloween on the show this year or another show.
I got my Halloween costume ready for the show this year.
It's Bad News Brown, right?
No. I'm ready.
See you shirtless with the fingerless glove.
Never shirt. If you see me shirtless on the Black Wrestling Podcast, just know that
that's when you know the Steel Reserve.
The Steel Reserve is taking over. All my faculties are gone. There's no way I can sit on a podcast.
Man,
my shirt. I it's rare. All right.
I can't wear this merch anymore.
What I'm saying is, Drip, honestly, if I'm not on like the most secluded of vacations, or I'm not on like a cruise ship where I know nobody knows my name, you're not just gonna get me walk with my. I will take my shirt off at a pool beach function, but that's not a regular. And even then, I'll be in the.
What about when you're about to scrap? You're not one of those guys who's.
When I'm about to scrap, I'm grabbing a weapon. I'm not taking my shirt off. You know what I'm saying?
You do John Cena, just the one arm through the one.
No, I can't. That's not me. You're not going to see me with my shirt off unless I'm totally comfortable.
You find a dude with your hands in your pockets like Orange Cassidy.
It's not how it works. I'm sorry.
If you saw that in real life, would you be amazed? If a dude did like the Jackie Chan routine of like fighting back without even throwing a punch, because that's basically what Orange Cassidy is. It's like Jackie Chan rush hour offense.
But wait, so I'm at a bar, right? An altercation happens. At some point in this altercation, there's a guy with his hands
has disrespected you.
It's a guy with his hands in his pocket who's like not really screaming, kind of just like being nonchalant dickhead to me. I feel like
that's me basically.
But the thing is, I feel like in real life somebody's going to swing. Like I don't think you're going to get this. I don't think you're going to get this. I don't think you're going to get this. Like at a certain point, somebody's going to bark on you. Somebody's going to say, "Hey, this is cool. We got to scrap because." And that doesn't mean you're going to win because like Orange Cassidy's really good, but the initial
oh, look at this guy with his hands in his pockets, and then like he headbutts you and like you're knocked out. Yeah, like
I don't know. His matches are when he's on fire. What's the punk match?
To me, he really never has bad matches too. Like, he constantly even against people like the Blade. He had Warlord's best match this year because the MJF match was just a great storytelling match in terms of him squashing MJF. But
they really before BRP on YouTube was a thing. That was Jericho Orange Cassidy was a big thing. I was very confused. So I'm like, I understand that Jericho can elevate mans, but at a certain point, and that's always the point I get to. It's like, all right, he has the great program. He wins the program. It's hard to see him beating Jon Moxley, not in a match, but for the AEW World Championship. I'm not sure if Tony Khan is ready for that. So if this was a match that happened in October and Moxley has a title, I'm assuming that Moxley's winning the match because it's Orange Cassidy. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, now we're gonna get the argument that I think we almost had one time about like the realism in wrestling. About I don't believe this guy can beat this guy. Then it's like Then wouldn't Braun Strowman be undefeated no matter how
you're right?
Strong Roman Reigns is again like almost Bobby Lashley like isn't
no you're right, but you being right also enhances the point of why an Orange Cassidy may not, because if
my point is like if he beats one guy, then you'll believe that he can beat any guy. And the failure of Orange Cassidy is he can beat old Chris Jericho and the Mimosa Mayhem match. But like, if he were to beat Pac one of these times, it shows that he can beat Pac. If he were to beat Jon Moxley, it shows that he can beat Jon. It's all the booker's control. You choose who can win and I'm not saying in the regular, but like again, like, and if the whole point about MJF is he can't wrestle, but he can win these matches, that's what matters at the end of the day, right? Like he can beat anyone. Because why? Because he's a heel that'll use tactics, even though he might not be the best wrestler.
For him as a character, the best thing you want him to do is to have him win, because he can then brag. For his character, he can then brag on any win.
But like I'm saying, he's only winning because he'll put the ring on and then boom, knock someone out. Like
exactly. Orange Cassidy, the Orange Cassidy matches, especially the ones that he wins, it's more about this guy who, the underdog, who you didn't think was going to win, was doper than you thought he was, or doper than you realized he was, and then he's able to pull out these moves and then win. At a certain point, he has to be better than that to beat an AEW. I would assume to beat an AEW champion. That's just what it is.
It's the thing at this point, like, he beats the guy he's supposed to beat. Like that's the whole point, not just like in the ranking system, but like someone like Ethan Page, who's going to bully Orange Cassidy and all that,
to win that match,
is the person who, like, again, like the comeuppance of someone like Ethan Page talking all this shit to the guy who wears the sunglasses with his hands in his pockets, beating him, is like that way Ethan Page was like, I'm like I lost to this guy. Like, so that's when you see like Wardlow versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT title, it's like, oh, obviously the big strong guy is going to win versus the scrawny dude wearing denim joggers, but it's like, he puts up a fight, like that's
versus me. Like I can't beat that man. But I will say this.
And this is the thing about Darby Allin as well. Like, what's Darby Allin gonna do against Brian Cage? He's gonna throw himself at him. He's gonna use everything to beat Brian Cage, and then he'll, and much to Matt's dismay, he'll be able to lock Brian Cage up in a hold and use all his momentum to pin him. And Orange Cassidy doesn't win like that, like how Darby Allin will win with like the trick pin maneuver. Orange Cassidy will knock someone out with the orange punch. Like, well, once he hits you with this, if he hits you with the punch, it's over. It's the thing. It's like, but it's everything that you're doing before that to stop him. And you could, like I said, book him maybe more seriously, but you haven't beat one big time guy for it. Again, you haven't beat Pac for the title. It shows like he can beat anyone at any time now going forward.
Well, you sent me images for this episode. I didn't realize he had this many matches against Pac. This is what, in the last year?
In the last 2.5 years, yeah.
At a certain point,
and Pac's won. Kenny Omega won the one triple threat match to retain the title, but Pac's won every single match. Prior, or maybe that one that says championship eliminator might have been the one when Pac. Oh no, yeah, Pac still won because Orange Cassidy got concussed in the one spot, I believe.
Jesus. So, at a certain point, MJF isn't advancing. Like, all right, actually, let me ask. Drip, do you see MJF as a viable AEW world champion?
Only in the sense of like how we've always seen heels be champions.
Okay.
Again, I'm gonna hold on to this title by any means necessary. I'll cheat, I'll low blow, again, the diamond ring, the guy's foot's on the ropes. He could be that type of champion. Matt is saying it'll be a dud, but I think Matt's saying it'll be a dud because we all know how he feels about MJF. So it's like, we shouldn't take your perspective because you already have a bias about like this guy not being good to begin with.
But the flip side is, I mean, because it feels like, at least you mentioned Matt, you mentioned yourself, you mentioned me. I feel like we're in agreement that at a certain point he's losing that title. So is it a title match where it's going to be a 20-minute catch can, fucking, slipping out of a power move versus my power bombs got you right now type shit? Or is it going to be somebody stealing a pin off of a roll up or something?
Well, the famous, I think, match that kind of put the test to him like that is him and CM Punk the first time when he hit CM Punk with the ring. The ref calls the match off and says, we're going to restart. And then he still wins the match, but they wrestle an extra 20 minutes. Remember, they had wrestled at like the start of the second hour. He wins 20 minutes in. The rest, like, no, I saw you use he waved it off. It's like, no, the match is going to continue. And MJF was like, what?
Nonsense. Yeah.
But I mean, MJF probably will only be the cowardly champion. He won't be the Roman Reigns type champion, like who's gonna again smash them, stack them, like choke dudes out. He won't be that type of champion. Only one dude's been that type of champion. That was Jon Moxley. And that's why Bryan Danielson made sense to be the next champ. So when MJF would beat Bryan Danielson by cheating, it'd be like, see, the greatest wrestler alive even fell to the mighty MJF. And then MJF will go on a string of beating again guys like Orange Cassidy, who would be like, that we all know you're just a comedy sideshow act. He'd do the old school takedown like he's done to many of people. But that's why I'm not saying Orange Cassidy should be world champion as much as I'd like to see it. And it would kind of be funny for optics of this guy who just carries around the title. He probably have his hands in his pockets with the title hanging off the side like that. Right. But All Atlantic definitely made sense. A couple episodes ago, I had pitched Ricky Starks as TNT champion, and that still looks like the smartest option based on the irrelevancy of that title now.
If he's available. Shit.
But I'm just saying how Ricky Starks was able, if Ricky Starks was TNT champ, he could carry anyone to a match or feud based off his talking ability and his wrestling ability. And that's basically what the TNT title is supposed to be.
Right. No, you're right.
Like this All Atlantic title is a workers title more than anything now. Pac has gone to Japan, to England.
Two things, those one, I think you're right initially, although they've not set up a framework for anyone like an Orange Cassidy to kind of
that's what I'm saying. Him winning the third singles title is the good starting point to see how he
could
start off, because it's we barely even care about this title, and this is the title that goes.
We've not been given a reason to care about it.
Yeah,
that's they established it, and that's what it was.
They found the whole point was to establish it by making the guy who should have been a champion in AEW in Pac winning that title. But someone like Orange Cassidy again, how is this guy gonna work as champion? Put this test case title on him and see how it goes again. Have him go to the likes of Mexico and wrestle Vikingo there, or go to England and face Michael Oku there, or go to Japan and face Konosuke Takeshita there, and again, because that's what it is at this point. It's supposed to be their catch as catch can. We're gonna transition from one hold to another title, and
it's supposed to be the World Hip Hop title. It was a good match they had on Grand Slam the other night too.
Yeah, I think as you he can clearly go, and he can go with anyone. And if you want people to start taking him seriously, make him a champion. That's the only way, because then people just be like, oh yeah, it's the guy who is gonna, because everyone says the same thing. When the match starts, oh yeah, he, I wish he'd be more serious. Then when the match is over, fuck, that was a fire match. It's the same thing every single time on the timeline when an Orange Cassidy match happens, which is why him and Ospreay is match of the year contender. It's besides it being Will Ospreay, obviously, who divides people like no one else on the timeline in terms of what's good and what's not in wrestling. But the fact that these two had the match that you expect them to, we all know, this is gonna be a good match, and then again, oh fuck yeah, that was a great match.
That was on Dynamite, right?
No, it was at Forbidden Door.
It was at Forbidden Door. That's what it was.
Yeah. Again, there was Ospreay's gonna do his flippy shit again, and Orange Cassidy's gonna do his comedy stuff, and the combination of that worked.
Do you think is AEW ready for Orange Cassidy, AEW World Championship contender?
They ran it once. You can run it again, especially if MJF is champ. You can run it again.
When did they run it?
Him and Kenny Omega last year, like I said. They only included Pac because the history between Kenny Omega and Pac, and the history between.
But that's
Pac and Cassidy.
What set up that match? How did the three of them get in that match?
At some point, Orange Cassidy had almost gotten number one contendership, in the rankings.
See, I think if you're really,
and it was I'm saying, it was the thing where champion Kenny makes Orange Cassidy, I like you, but you're not championship material.
But what I'm saying is,
I think that was basically the whole promo.
I think the thing is you have to, if you're going to build these people as the future of the wrestling industry, you have to say, okay, Orange Cassidy, just like Liv Morgan has been able to be champion. She's jumping off fucking posts.
She's more Darby Allin, though. That's the thing. Like, yeah.
But at some point, there's still a groundswell of internet appreciation for this person. That happened for Liv a while ago, and they just finally said, hey, we don't have nothing else. Let's try Liv. Orange Cassidy feels like somebody who probably could have been a secondary champion a while. He could have been a TNT champion a while ago if they felt like that was the time. My hope is that he's able to hold, even if it's the all-elite champion, but something to buck the system, something to say, hey, I know this is how you'll normally book people, but this guy's a little different. He's got a lot of edge because current viewers are liking him and watching him. And of course, the people who are indie fans are ready to see a guy like that kind of shine. I think he's in a good position, but he needs to be booked in a way because Orange Cassidy's also a really easy option to have him lose a match, but make you look good. Like he can make Drip look like $1 million.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is at some point, I think that's all he is to Tony Khan. When you're saying like, what does AEW need to do? It's like they need to have him beat a John Moxley. They need to have him beat an MJF to establish, and someone for a title to establish that, because otherwise, to people's eyes,
right,
you're just who you are. That's the whole point of why you call Cesaro a whore. I mean, a hoe. Like
that's a whore.
They never made him beat someone of any caliber for a title. It was just tag titles.
He was just a very talented wrestler out there doing nothing.
Yeah, you're looking like a whore. Like you're like
whore.
Like Sheamus. He really lost anyone and can beat anyone. That's why him versus Gunther, you're like
again. Yeah. The beauty of a Sheamus is right now. Sheamus and Gunther. What's the next pay-per-view? Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules, yeah.
You could put them in a match right now. They got it.
I'm gonna say, like, when you see Sheamus versus Gunther, like, I can believe Sheamus can win.
Exactly.
No matter how great Gunther begins, because you've seen Sheamus beat John Cena for the title. You've seen him beat Daniel Bryan for the title. You've seen him beat Roman Reigns for the title. You've seen a bit, and they never let Cesaro do that, which is why he had this. And it was almost the same thing with Dean Ambrose, which is why he got fed up. Like, they just see me as a guy who gets there but can never get there. But it's all about booking. Booking determines how we view people.
What's the time frame between? What's one of those recent? What's one of those like historical situations you just referenced? Like somebody back in the day getting betrayed by somebody. What's the time frame between the situation happening and when the world knows to react? Because like in the world, in like pro wrestling, it's so quick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to. You almost need somebody like Orange Cassidy to be on.
Well, you know what? Here's the flip side, because it's in the same company. So the first time John Moxley faced Wheeler Yuta, he beat the shit out of him in like 2 minutes. And Orange Cassidy brings. No. I'm talking about the first one.
Okay.
And this is when I think this is prior to John Moxley leaving, because I think they were setting up the match with Orange Cassidy the next week, but then Moxley went home.
Okay.
And like one of the third matches Moxley had after coming back from rehab was against Wheeler Yuta. And it was like Wheeler Yuta actually got offense in this time as compared to like getting stomped out in 2 minutes. Then the third one was the match on Rampage in which like you almost thought Wheeler Yuta was going to win that match by like going almost like 16 minutes. And there was the one spot where like he'd hit the move, that 2 count came down, and then it was like, and he like Moxley kicked out, and it was like, hold it.
Yeah.
They made you believe
100%.
Wheeler Yuta at that point could beat John Moxley. Now since then, anytime you've seen Wheeler Yuta, like I think he can beat so and so now. I mean,
yeah, he's valid,
or that he can hang with them, not necessarily beat. And Orange Cassidy has reached that point numerous times. Like it's like the Jadakiss thing, like good, but not good enough. Like at the verses, it's like
how many albums you got? Yeah,
it's with Orange Cassidy, and that's what I mean about his booking. I think it kind of goes back to, I thought he was a young guy, but he's kind of like mid to late 30s.
He's from Jersey. He was born in Jersey.
I think he's like 36, 37 or something like that. I thought when AEW started, I thought when AEW started, he was going to be like 28. I'm like, why isn't this guy one of the pillars? I'm like, oh, I see why. Like,
Yeah,
even though he doesn't look like a
before.
guy who's 38, I guess
Right.
it works for us like lean, skinny guys who like
Yeah.
with like the same haircut who don't age.
Yeah, about that.
But
this drip,
like,
drip
oh,
will be,
so that's
drip will be 70 years old showing us his birthday party in this outfit. Watch. Anyway,
but I think that's probably what holds him back is like, oh, on paper, this behind the scenes, this guy's an old guy in wrestling, even though like he doesn't wrestle like an old guy when you see him
right
wrestle. I'm not saying like that. I think he's probably the same age as fucking Bryan Danielson, but it's like, and he's the best wrestler out there still. It's about how much you want to invest, but we're talking about you got to invest in the short term too, not just the long term. And AEW, I think, was worried about the long term and now has to worry about the short term because of everything that's been happening.
Yeah, I think they've kind of,
which is why they're like, we don't need to worry about Kenny Omega the Bucks not being champion yet. We got time. We have time. Well, and then like pressure started them on. They're like,
right.
Well, COVID happened, so they had to hit the emergency button on both of those because, like, okay, we gotta make something matter now. Like, this has to happen.
I will say though, Drip, I think because it's one of those things where because they've done the thought process on the angles they really want to do, they've been able to understand how to build an angle. So when a situation where the world goes to shit, and they still have to do weekly wrestling and like it's not like the booking faltered or for the most part. It was just fans wish that things were booked a different way. I'm also a strong believer one day it all makes sense. At some point, what we've been going through the last like 5 years is going to make sense. But right now, you kind of have to deal with the kid who is just learning how to run a pro wrestling business, and TV show and book like he's got money to throw, but you still got to sit down and say, okay, I'm buying ROH. What does that mean? What's that going to mean in 8 months? What's it going to mean in 2 years? I don't think he's had those conversations.
Well, that's why Jericho won. We didn't spend too much time on that. The Jericho winning ROH title was to be like, when this show starts,
that shit looks
it's going to matter because this guy's going to be champ when this show starts. We have to have someone like Jericho at the beginning who people will recognize to tune in.
It makes sense. No, that makes sense. He looks dumb.
Yeah.
He's old.
At this point, a guy, Orange Cassidy is Cesaro. AEW Cesaro of like,
it's just so many.
No, I'm saying like you're going to believe Orange Cassidy's going to have the best match of the night out, but you're not going to believe he's going to win because countless times you've seen the same movie of like, guy never wins unless it's people or that he's not going to win when it matters. And that was the whole thing.
He's crying. Keek's probably crying too.
Yeah.
It don't make no damn sense. He ROH champ. So what? How long am I supposed to really believe that he's going to be ROH champion? A week or two?
Well, let's figure out like if they announce something soon.
I mean, at some point, what did I see? The tweets I saw said that it's going to be Daniel Garcia taking all those titles, holding the pure.
Him and Garcia's.
That's inevitable.
Yeah.
And Daniel Garcia have been brewing from the whole again.
That's probably why Danielson didn't win. He has to play a factor in that storyline, and they don't want the champion playing. The whole
reason I thought Danielson was winning is because he was so adamant about Garcia winning the pure title. He won the title. He's put the belt. There was a tweet that showed he put the belt on Mox.
The title on it. Well, he just like to say that that tweet was more Danielson like just like have a fetish for putting titles on dudes. Like
why he can't put the title on himself though?
Because he loves what he does, but he doesn't want I want to do 80% of the work instead of 20%. It's basically probably it's the thing about the Orange Cassidy character, which is a guy who will try when he wants to try. But that's also like a commentary about, I guess, my generation and the next generation, right? Like,
I think Danielson is just so much better than everybody that it's hard to look at the landscape and be like, yo, I guess I'm living through another Moxley reign. Like, I don't want to see.
This is going to be the shortest. Well, I mean, the last reign was actually short. But this is going to be another short Moxley reign. Yeah.
He's 3-time champion. How short is it going to be?
But again, let's not forget the pettiness of Tony Khan of making him three-time champ. So CM Punk won't be the multi-reigning champ in history. Like, remember they got Cody out the paint of being
early
the two-time TNT champ by Sammy Guevara being now the three-time TNT champ. That's kind of like Tony Khan already fixing his history book so it doesn't look crazy. He's only fixing it in the short term, not the long term. Like,
right? No, that's key.
And that's his. Key. That's why when you're saying like we got to give this kid time, like he worries about short term and the long term when he shouldn't, and long term and the short term when he shouldn't. Like that's why characters like Orange Cassidy or like Wardlow, like on one, the ship sailed on one, he bought early on the other, and now the one he bought early on, it's floundered. Like Wardlow, we don't care about Wardlow anymore, and it sucks. Nope. And we still care about Orange Cassidy, but it's like, when you want us to really care, we know what's going to happen. We've seen this movie. Charlie Brown gets the football pulled out from under him. Like, that's what it is. Like,
word.
And they miss out on, like, it's like kids, women, men dress up like him at the shows. Like, the marketability of him is all there. I mean, they put him on these Comic-Con panels and, like, and some talk shows, and they use just, like, yep.
Sometimes that's what it is, though. Sometimes
it's just like you can market him like that, like him on like
of course
Jimmy Fallon. Like it's an interesting like wait, so this guy's a wrestler and so what's he do? Like it
you
like
think they're ready for that though? You think they're ready for whoever Austin Creed to explain what a WWE champion is, let alone a pro wrestler?
That's why the New Day was able to take off the way they did. Is like their characters after the whole gospel thing failed. Even though I liked them when they were the gospel, I bought in early with the New Day. I didn't mind the gospel thing at first. I actually kind of like when they announced it, I'm like, all right, I like all three of these guys. I'll give it a shot.
But I would imagine just like other people around you, like at a certain point, everything else about that trio of the New Day made sense outside
2 years later. It made much more sense when they were kind of
developed
personalities.
Of course.
Yeah.
In 2022, if you're talking about teams that are the most put together, you're talking about Big E, Kofi, and Xavier.
And again, Big E on paper is one of the most believable guys ever. And why did we say not us in particular, but why did people say his run was trash? They booked him to lose, and at the end, that's all it is. Is just the people in charge misuse the talent all the time, and that's why we have I can never buy so and so as a real contender. It's no matter, and Fam's right when he'll talk about like Jungle Boy being a bad name and Jack Perry being so much better, and this guy can go. But at the end of the day, what's his character? It's similar to Orange Cassidy in that aspect, but it's like, but Jungle Boy will still win, and you believe him as like a wrestler. Like, no, I'm saying like you like the gimmicks done, like so he's Tarzan, but like it's the modern day. Like, what's up with this? Yeah, like.
Right. No, you're not wrong, Drip. It's kind of just how you have to do it to understand what's going on right now. I think that's why people have embraced somebody like Orange Cassidy. I don't think again, when I first saw him, he's not a pro wrestler who is normal.
He's Ferris Bueller. They think he's a righteous dude.
He's Ferris Bueller, but like minus 30 care. Like his thumb up for these.
So how did Ferris Bueller had all the care? I had no care. That's the whole point.
What I'm saying is,
so he had to care. Like, oh shit, I'm running home, and my dad's in the car.
Remember, Ferris Bueller still put a card into his synthesizer to make different fart and flatulent noises, like
like Orange Cassidy. I know how to wrestle lucha. Like I want to pull it out when I want to pull it out.
Pause. Ferris Bueller was setting up strings to have like mannequins pull up when the bed came up and he's got like snoring noises going on.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy, I wanted a car. They got me a computer. Like,
Orange Cassidy is getting dressed. He's opening the window. He's going to lucha out the window, down the roof, onto the ground, and kind of just walk away. Like he's not the premier player, so he doesn't have all of, like you mentioned, he doesn't have all of his moves yet.
No, I think he does. Everyone has all their moves, yeah.
He has his signature moves. If you played 2K enough to get like unlock like the base level, the thing is
dudes.
Right. It's not
for 5 minutes in a rest. I don't want him to become Randy Orton or like 5 minutes in the rest hold. Like
he's not going anywhere above where he is right now. He would need more. You would need to put more VC in. You know what I'm saying? Like
for them joggers.
I don't think Tony Khan cares enough about Orange Cassidy right now to build him outside of this. Like this is where he is right now. Like, and it's the thing is, it's not a diss because anytime you see this, it's a banger.
Yeah, you're like, I love this song. It's
always
it's a pop song, but it might not be the best written or best sung, but it's a catchy tune. Like
there's a reason why they've run this back numerous times. Like it's a good match. It's a good pairing. If you could figure out a way of making Orange Cassidy work at that level for everybody, as well as making it a little more unique every match, you could have a viable main event contender, but you have to believe in him and then do the work. And
see, I think every match is that because the character is captivating, and that's why a match again. I mean, something like Ari Daivari or like the Blade is like again a given, or even Ethan Page, like him against Wardlow, him and Will Ospreay. These matches that he'll lose outside of the package, like it's you buy into like, oh, I want to see this guy prevail.
What do the people want though?
I think people would want him as champ. That's why it's like that's why you buy in sort of like he's almost there. It's the same thing with Cesaro, and like it became the running joke for Dolph Ziggler. And again, he was someone who had it briefly, at least compared to Cesaro, where like, but you were you went back to being the steady hand in the mid card, and but you believed him once because he won the title, but maybe you'll believe it a second time.
Give that man a gimmick that makes sense, and I think not Wardlow, not Morrissey, Cesaro, Miro, any of those cats. I think there's a way, because Orange Cassidy is so unique, there's a way to work him in properly with the mid card. But I think the mid card for AEW is such a tumbleweed / like we'll try anything no man's land that they don't know. Like they don't have the pipeline of be a good wrestler, win the Intercontinental title, put on dope Intercontinental title matches to then go to the main event. Like that hierarchy isn't there because Tony Khan is just looking at
it. Bounces a lot, yeah.
Yeah, like because Tony Khan is a fan, he understands why an Orange Cassidy Pac match might make sense. Where in the WWE, they wouldn't book this. They wouldn't book it 4 times. You know what I'm saying? Like Tony Khan understands how pro wrestlers work, but you still have to build people. You still have to make Orange Cassidy be more than just the guy who was like, what the fuck is this guy kicking my ankles at? Like he has to be, to see him with the title, you have to build him a certain way. I don't think there's any way about it.
Yeah.
How do you make him look stellar if not make him look stellar? And I don't mean that that's not beating the John Moxley, but he's got to go on a run at the very least.
At the end of the day, he has to beat the people you say are the best, and all that. Like, if people want to be the character to be serious, you're asking the same thing when they're talking about Big E and all that. When he's wearing a jumpsuit with his feet in the foot massager, it's
right.
That's not what an Intercontinental Champion should be. But like when this guy wrestles in the ring, it doesn't matter. Like, so why? It's
got to build the man. You got to build the character before you build the champion. But
speaking of the character, I had an idea. So like, I think it was Comic-Con this year. They asked him his favorite movie, and he said Fast 5, and he said like, and it was like no comment afterwards. And then like on Twitter, he posted a tweet once like, since I've not been put in a Fast and Furious movie yet, here's this. Who? So you know what should Orange Cassidy. So you know what should happen. I had an idea where like, remember how that redacted racist Terry Bollea used to have TNT TV movies?
Yep.
Warner Discovery needs to do like a MacGruber type film with Orange Cassidy as the star.
I was gonna say, you know what the problem is, Drip, right? Because Fast and the Furious is Universal.
No, I'm saying like and so is McGroup. I'm saying they need to do like that way. It's a parody of the action movies, and again, like him as the character being like, he walks into the bar, sits down, and someone's like,
"No,
what you want?"
Drip, Drip, the thing is, that's what Jay say. That's a funny line.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn that into a hot song. But right now, like you're just talking about like 3 different like jokes.
Yeah.
Like I think the key with Orange Cassidy is you have to make the mainstream take him seriously. And at this point, the only way he's taken seriously is either he's vying for the major title or he does something that puts him in the conversation. Is like a Logan Paul to say, I don't know if it makes sense, but at the very least, I want to see this guy.
Well, we all know Logan Paul's not winning. That's why the other day I had said it was Mayweather versus McGregor, because it's like
Mayweather was just in Japan fighting. Never mind. They said he was just in Japan fighting some crazy. It's one of those things where.
I mean, the whole point of, we know Conor McGregor was that guy in MMA, but like boxing's a whole different. And again, going against the best boxer, like.
But
unless you caught him with a lucky punch, you're not winning no matter what. And Logan Paul's the same thing. Like, yeah, you can beat the Miz. We saw it happen, but we know you're not beating Roman Reigns. Like, the fuck.
Because I don't want to talk in circles.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is, if you're a pro wrestling fan in 2022, you should be able to book Orange Cassidy to the promise. It's not that hard to book him. The thing is the person who's also controlling where the money's spent and what's going on TV, they have to feel that Orange Cassidy is ready. And I feel like, just like you were saying earlier, Orange Cassidy's gotten to the dance a number of times, but it doesn't feel like the person who's able to make him go over having a dope lead-up match being the main event. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Tony Khan is ready for Orange Cassidy 20-minute, 30-minute time limit at the end of Dynamite facing John Moxley. He would save that for pay-per-view. And Mans would lose because I don't think he wants to put Cassidy in that position like that, which is sad because this is the best place for an Orange Cassidy or anybody that has a unique character that doesn't fit square in WWE at all.
But what happened? And we're just going to keep using the same examples with some of the things but what made Kofi Mania so special?
Okay. Kofi Mania. The key with Kofi Mania, again, you have to remember that Black people.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, in the storyline, like this. No. Well, I'm like that was actually on paper. It's this guy's been Intercontinental champ,
right?
U.S. champ, multi-time tag champ. We're not gonna buy this guy as the world champion. They put him in the chamber. He makes it till the end. Bryan Danielson barely escapes. They put him through the gauntlet. He wins it. Again, Bryan Danielson, after he's faced 5 guys, just like squash him because it's like this guy went through hell
to get here.
And we've seen him beat so-and-so. Like, he could be 4 guys in one night. It won't matter because the odds are in his way. It's that storytelling until you finally leave on that night. When it's like, I'm going to like, that's what made that WrestleMania match so impactful. Cause oh God, if this guy loses, we're just going to get our hearts broken. All over again. And at some point they need to either do the same exact thing with Orange Cassidy, where like he beats Bryan Danielson, he beats John Moxley, and then he beats MJF, the champ, for the title. So it shows like this guy's for real now. Like he did it. He beat Hangman Page. He needs to beat all the people that he should beat. That will show like, this guy is serious. And again, the character Kofi Kingston as champ was still the guy in the New Day with the unicorn horns and the pancakes and
Trip. You know what's sad? The way you're describing how Orange Cassidy could win the title is the exact bill that Danielson had. At the end of the day, God, Tony Khan is a leprechaun at the end of the rainbow, and he has to deem it to be fit to say, okay.
Oh no, because the difference is,
he can be champion, whatever the case may be. No,
but you've seen Danielson be champion elsewhere, so you know it's capable. That's why this week was so upsetting to you in particular, is because it's like, I know this guy can be champion. You're telling me he won't be champ again? Like, are we in the other company when they're like, no, you can't be champion here? Like, what are you saying? Like,
Tony Khan.
And again, in the story of avenging all the losses he had, and like he'd beaten Garcia, he'd beaten Jericho, like he'd beaten Hangman Page. Like, I'm beating the guys who beat me. I'm going to do that again for the 4th time.
Do you follow astrology at all, Drew?
You mean like horoscopes and a little bit, yeah.
Tony Khan
to talk to women these days, you have to at least know some.
Tony, because women are very much into that stuff. That's why I say it's smart. Tony Khan was born 1 day and 1 year behind me. And I'm not saying this to say I understand Tony Khan, but I can understand how Libras work.
Oh God, is he a Libra?
Yeah. Again, his birthday's a day before mine. So whatever you think about me, Drip.
No, I'm Tony just thinking Khan, about the past woman in my life was a Libra, so
I'll say this. I've heard that being in a relationship with Libras isn't good. My wife is not big.
Bad. I'm just saying. I think it was a thing to, like, this is going great, isn't it? And then like a Tony Khan looking decision like undoes all of it. Like,
Libras doing some shit, but you got to get the right person though. But I say this to say I think I kind of understand. There's points where I get where Tony Khan is coming from, because his birthday is the day before mine. And I think I kind of relate to where he is in life. He's a year younger than me.
I was about to say, No, me and Banks just talked about like this dude's about to be what, 40, right? Or
he's about to turn 40 in like less than a month. Like that. That's a big deal. 30 is a big deal birthday. 40 is a different situation.
So 2.5 years from that.
40 is kind of, hey, I can't cheat like I'm young. If I'm in a position where I have like a leadership role, I have to be that person, but also I have to lay the foundation. It's probably why he invested in ROH, probably why he makes sure that ROH is all over AEW TV, because guys like Orange, like, replace this with the ROH World Championship, and I could see that. I could see Orange Cassidy doing a 25-30 minute match with Daniel Garcia. Like,
now you're viewing him as like, you could see Johnny Gargano as NXT champ and not WWE champ, or Finn Balor even a better.
You're right. I don't see Orange Cassidy as the AEW World Champ. I don't think the world that they're building right now sees Orange Cassidy as bigger than the guy defeating Chris Jericho for the ROH World Champ. Like, it's because, but this is only because he owns both companies. Like, you have to remember that because AEW is such a big deal week to week, and ROH has no TV, he has to make AEW hot as well as build ROH.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things could be elevating the characters that are kind of in the middle between an AEW and an ROH. And I mean, I may be crazy, but I feel like this guy, who is a sports entertainer, who was also working in PWG or Chikara. I'm sorry, Chikara. Fire Ant was working in Chikara.
Yeah, again, an indie worker.
It's no different than Too Cold Scorpio, who knew how to work lucha, who had worked in Japan, but when it was time to make the big high spots that America liked, he can do that. Mm-hmm. It's just on the booker to say, okay, this guy is dope enough to maybe hold our secondary title, or to maybe be vying for the main title in our secondary organization. But I don't know where Tony Khan's mind is with any of this stuff right now, but it feels like he understands Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy can be a person that he can build on in the future. He's just not big enough to be a Miro or a Moxley. He can't. I don't think he can hit that level right now. America's not ready for this. Orange Cassidy, AEW World Championship. He's not going on Fallon. He's not going on Conan. This is not the face of America right now. It is, but it isn't. That's not what America's present. You would need realistically, Drip, and it's funny because it would never happen. If you want the face of America as your AEW World Championship, you put that title on Sonny Kiss because that's TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Kiss is TikTok, but the world isn't ready for.
That's why Ricky Starks is. That's why everyone on like the vignette before the Ricky Starks match, when it's him in that red room and the woman speaking in the French like accent, like Ricky, that's. And that's when we had, again, the whole episode about that was the mainstream type appeal about this guy could go talk to the ringer about wrestling and then ask this guy what's his favorite Drake album, ask him what he's watching on HBO. He'll have an answer for you. I think Orange Cassidy in the way of put this guy in a movie is like this character and like it probably sells itself. I'm going to have him do like the Buster Keaton, Jackie Chan stunts in a movie where you don't have to take it too seriously, but it's entertaining. It's that marketability. And again, booking at the end of the day solves it all. That's what I mean. What did they say? Rey Mysterio showed up in WCW. Look at who is this kid? Is he, like 16? Then they saw him wrestle and they're like, holy fuck. But who's going to be this skinny 5'6" guy is going to beat anyone at the end of the day? It's all fake. It doesn't matter. But on the character level, they're he can only be guys in his weight class. Think about Orange Cassidy now. There is no weight class for him. It's all, like I said, skill level or hierarchy. He can only be guys here, not here. Until he is able to beat someone on the top. He'll be Cesaro. He'll be the guy who can only beat lower to mid card tier guys, and that's it.
Wait, Trip, did you see that AEW, they've not acknowledged your ratings in a while, their rankings in a while?
Yeah, because that's at a certain point, they were shooting themselves in the foot again. The whole FTR thing was the biggest. And we talked about that recently again. Cash
Wheeler say, yo, we've been number one contenders since April. Mm-hmm. It's September right now.
Yeah, but also they haven't really wrestled. They also really haven't wrestled matches. But I guess that's the part about being the ROH champs is technically you're still. That's where again that's why this last week was dumb in terms of Moxley wins. MJF has the chip. They have a battle royal to determine a number one contender for this date in Cincinnati. But John Moxley is going to face Juice Robinson, and if Juice Robinson wins, he gets a title match. So it's
it's an AEW, what they call it, a world title eliminator match.
Yeah.
Champion versus Juice Robinson.
If Juice Robinson wins, technically there will be 3 number one contenders for the AEW title: Juice Robinson, Hangman Page, and MJF.
So
MJF is still considered a number one contender due to him having the chip. He determines the match.
He got the chip. Adam Page is a contender. Why? Because he was the last champion.
No, he won the Battle Royal on Friday. That's what that was for. For a specific date.
What's the third champion? The third person?
Juice Robinson. By him winning this Fatal 4-Way, that was a New Japan match that Moxley was involved in. He gets a shot to face Moxley for a shot to face Moxley again for the time.
Hey, Drip, if you do good,
I'm saying this
Drip,
is why.
If you have a really good showing on Black Wrestling this week, maybe you'll be able to vie for a spot on a bigger podcast. What the fuck are we talking about?
This is why I'm saying that's why the rankings were supposed to matter, but then
they shit all over him.
But then they're like, why isn't FTR getting the title shot? That was the whole thing with Big Swole, right? Why isn't she getting another shot? She's number one. Or technically, someone like Jay Lethal would have to get a title shot, and it's no one wants to fucking see Jay Lethal be the number one contender, even though he's stacking up these wins on Dark. That's why Scorpio Sky had a whole year's worth of match wins on Dark that he bragged about. I should be the number one contender for the TNT title because it's like
nobody paid attention.
Yeah,
nobody paid attention.
Shooting themselves in the foot, though.
What people paid attention was time to have the conversation about why Scorpio Sky wasn't in bigger title contention, and that was when it was like, oh well, his win-loss record, his appearance record versus what anybody actually thinks about booking him is two totally different things. And I think people need to remember that because it's still very valid. But
Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, the Acclaimed, they built a lot of their wins on Dark like you're supposed to. So it would matter to count for the rankings, but then like when you have to decide who in these rankings gets the shot, you're like, well, people aren't gonna buy him even though he's technically number 4 or her. That's a whole nother debacle was a rank. Like it made sense, but then they kind of shit on it like after 4 months of like, shouldn't this person be the number 1 contender? Why are we having another battle royal to determine a number 1 contender?
The last time I heard people talking about that drip is when they said
and that. I think if I were to look up the rankings, Hangman Page would probably be in the top 5. It's like, so why would we need the guy who has a shot based off the rankings?
From what I've always heard, drip when CM Punk, his name came up, WWE said, "Hey, we don't want him, but Tony, if you want to take him, let us know how much ibuprofen you got to take after having." Like, I think at a certain point, these companies understand what makes sense for them, and you can only do so much, especially as just a person that's young and talented, but not over. Their system is not ready to, unless you can make yourself get over on BTE or online or whatever. The system's not ready for you. The pro wrestling's not ready. Pro wrestling is not ready for someone to go viral on TikTok and then be in a good time match the following week. The people running
were, but then those people left because they didn't like the way their titles were being treated, and now they're on Twitter and we're drilling all over them,
controlling their narrative.
No, I guess the last thing is against someone. One of the big high-profile future Orange Cassidy was him and Adam Cole, but he beat Adam Cole in the lights out match, and that doesn't count on paper. And like a big win like that shows like this guy can beat the guy who challenges for the title because that's what Adam Cole did, and
it don't matter.
Yeah, that's how. And technically, Ricky Starks didn't beat Hobbs. That match doesn't count.
When this over the other day,
yeah, the lights out matches don't count.
Unsanctioned. That's right.
Yeah, that's how Moxley beat Kenny Omega the first time.
So then what?
It's just so like it doesn't count towards the record, but it's like everyone knows I beat you. Like so, show it on the records, but like
at this point, I shouldn't be seeing Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs have any type of interaction anymore.
You'd think that, and that was the blow off to like the blood feud. Yeah, Ricky Starks should be in the real title contention, but
I guess we'll see. But
what you said about CM Punk is I think CM Punk cursed himself by wanting to be world champ because that body was kind of holding up with him just beating guys in the mid card.
Gum and duct tape was holding that body together.
Him and Tony Khan was like, you know what? You should just face guys and just have feuds in which the story matters, not the title.
Oh, but the way people talked about CM Punk when he first got there, that was his plan.
That's another episode of White Noise. I have to see if Drew will stop by for that.
Say less. We can talk. Give me the picture. We'll talk to Drew. Don't worry.
Because if the rumors are true about the buyout, which I think would be likely anyway, no matter what the source is reporting, it does seem like both parties have kind of gotten tired of each other. That's a whole other episode to talk about his year in AEW. Was it good? Was it bad? What did we like? What did we hate? Cal watched that Rampage episode, be like, "This is what you people wanted."
I told y'all from that night. I was saying, "All right, this is cool. I understand why this is such a big deal, but it's really not. It can't be that serious because it's fucking CM Punk. Like it's not. It's not The Rock. It's not John Cena. It's not. It ain't Bryan Danielson. Like it's fucking CM Punk. Like we're not talking about anybody that's." CM Punk has had great moments. it's hard to say that CM Punk is like in 2022. It's hard to say he's like that big of a deal. There was a lot of conversation about CM Punk when it was time to wrestle. When it was time to wrestle, that shit was not it was not a number one, and part of that is because CM Punk can only CM Punk at a certain point.
At one point, it was like Liam Neeson still doing action movies. Like,
what are you doing? Why?
No, it's like this looked good 10 years ago, but
right.
I can clearly see you either need a stunt double or the editing is doing a lot of work right now.
People needed to hear In Living Color. They need to see him a year into it, and he's the reason why you're not getting Kenny Omega or the Bucks on TV right now. Like, what was the point?
We didn't need Kenny Omega back that soon anyway, to be honest.
Like, no, you're not wrong, but Kenny got bite marks. Like, it feels like it was a lot of unnecessary animosity for this.
Yeah, well, you reap what you sow, and that's what they wanted. They wanted the man back, and he said no. And then they said, how about this? It was a truckload of money. He said, okay.
And they let him go. 2-time champion.
Exactly. And Orange Cassidy isn't even a champion. He couldn't even be the trios champ, which is like made for the best friends. That was another aspect. Like, this tournament was made for the other trio you have besides the Elite and even Death Triangle, but Death Triangle, you more want to see Lucha Bros on their own and Pac on his own. You like them together because it's a dope fit of like styles, but
right. When I
real trio's best friends, it's like dudes who are always together.
When I saw Moxley hitting the authentic moves to prepare dinner that night, like it was a lot going on in those matches. It feels like there's like Best Friends is cool. Best Friends isn't giving you the 5-course meal. Best Friends is good for a portion mid card at best. I don't see them as champions. I think an Orange Cassidy.
Come on. That's what they're for. For again, like what was the best trios match we'd seen in AEW was House of Black versus Death Triangle. Like, let's get 6 wrestlers we like and know can go, and give them 12 minutes.
When was the last time you thought the Best Friends were winning an AEW Tag Team Championship?
Probably like when it was 4 or 5 months in. Like, they had credibility then of like,
this man.
No, I mean the best friends of Trent and Chuck.
This man is more over
the best friends.
The rest of the Best Friends.
That's the point of like why they should have been the trios champ.
But
and would establish him again a little bit more. Like, he's got a title now, and these two guys are now elevated.
Because we're years in, I think we're seeing the Best Friends are here. Orange Cassidy is here, and then Jon Moxley is up here. Like, at a certain point, you can't be Trent Beretta or Chuck Taylor trying to get into the area above Orange Cassidy. They don't see you that level. You're below them. You can hold the tag title. At some point, you can hold the trios title. But at some point, your man who's in the trios is going to get elevated. You're going to be sitting right there. Trent Beretta's dope. I like Trent Beretta. But
would you have thought the Acclaim would be tag champs? That's the thing. You booking decides. That was more of them getting over.
The Acclaim was over. The Acclaim was when Swerve
feud before the tag titles was the Ass Boys. It's like, yeah, you should beat these guys. They're terrible.
It was a quote of Swerve's leading into Grand Slam where he said, I didn't realize that he was talking about the match of the pay-per-view before. He said, I didn't realize that they were that over, which surprised me because every week, ever since Anthony Bowens has been in that wheelchair, they've just grown week to week in terms of fans loving, fans cheering, scissor me daddy ass, like all of that. Like, that's not new. I mean, that's not old. That all just happened recently. And the fact, unless he's working, Swerve saying that piece of commentary
I think he was surprised that people could get over in wrestling because he's not used to it.
But was he surprised because he's supposed to be playing heel and doesn't work, or was he genuinely surprised that New Jersey had fans that were that hype that they were mobbing areas to get to the Wi-Fi or just hear what was going on in the pay-per-view. Like, you can't dismiss them like you can't dismiss the Fiends in the Bronx for being loyal to one dealer or whatever. Like, it is what it is. So
yeah. No. I mean, I guess the last thing I forgot, like, they try to make, Orange Cassidy is one of the few people with like a legit song.
Right.
And the thing was, he had the Pixies "Where Is My Mind," which is actually a better fit than the Jefferson Starship. That shows again that you're invested in this guy if you got like a legit entrance song from him. Because even something like MJF, he had the "Sympathy for the Devil," which you couldn't pay for that every week.
No, it's too expensive.
But what I've always said about MJF is like his theme sucks, which is why when he says "Come my music," you're like, "Thank you, we don't want to hear this generic."
So I'm good. I don't need to hear this shit no more.
Yeah, it's like God. But
now where's my mind? I was gonna say before Cassidy.
That fit perfectly because it
fit perfectly. I've heard so many different TV shows like Leftovers.
Mr. Robot had the instrumental version.
All right. So Mr. Robot used that drop a lot. It's always that piano.
Mm-hmm.
The Leftovers. Did you watch Leftovers on HBO?
No.
Leftovers used "Where's My Mind" a lot. I think that's actually where I've grown to appreciate the song because there's some piano version of
it bookended, I think, 2 Chappelle specials, if I'm not mistaken. I think the second set of Chappelle specials, it was the end credit song. It was like,
I want to say there's a number of shows use "Where's My Mind."
Well, famously, again, it was used in David Fincher's Fight Club as the world is falling apart, or the city, I should say, but the world in a way.
He got a bullet hole through his cheek. There's smoke coming out the cheek. He's got his girl in his hand, and
I went swimming in the Caribbean.
But that song's used a lot. But for this man, it makes sense. It makes sense with the Titantron where he's got there's things spelled out.
Picture here,
he scrawls it out and he's got arrows. Like, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Like the character. See, that's what I'm saying. All this works about the character. I mean, the people about being unserious. It's like then it ruins all that. Then he wouldn't have the cool entrance. He wouldn't have. You can't have me
too much into it.
Yeah. I'm saying you want him to be like Madcap Moss, like generic. I don't have a character. I'm a wrestler. Like,
let him figure it out. If anything, let Orange Cassidy and Madcap Moss figure it out. Because at a certain
don't let Madcap Moss figure it because he ain't got it.
I'm saying is Orange Cassidy's final form is not right now. I feel like for Tony Khan to feel like he's an AEW World Championship contender, there's like something's missing. And I think Madcap Moss has got everything, but there's something that's missing to make them go from Madcap to Sheamus or Orange Cassidy, I hate to say, to Bryan Danielson, but like there's a bridge there that they've not crossed.
Dudes out with his hands in his pockets. He doesn't even hold their arms. That
would be hard. He
hooks them into his pockets. Like grabs them.
He pulls his hands up and he just kind of just sit there like this. And it's just stomping on him and shit. Yeah, no, he needs that.
But then that's like, so you want him just to be, instead of just having the look of Ryan Gosling from Drive, you want him being the dude Gosling when he steps on the dude in the elevator.
No, because I will say, seeing Jericho and all these people, Moxley do the fucking elbows, it feels so.
You get tired of it after a while.
It feels like an AW thing is, let me put you in a submission hold and just drop. When Danielson does it, it makes sense because
his move,
that's literally his style. Seeing
Jay White does it pretty well too.
Yeah, but you have to have a certain type of aggression in you.
The whole point of Jay White is it's like, again, the switchblade poking.
Right, it makes sense.
Times, yeah.
Jericho doing the L because he did that in the match with him and Danielson. He did it because
it's like when through the Danielson kicks just to piss people off. Like these kicks suck, but like it got good heat.
Anyway,
you're like the critic. It stinks. Like
2 thumbs down. Nah. Anyway.
But again, well, much like Carmelo Hayes' future, as we'll find out what's next for Orange Cassidy. Stay tuned, people. It's because that's the thing. Whenever we do like the wrestler spotlight, in a way, Mimi yelled at us for fantasy booking. This is kind of fantasy booking in a way.
It's hard, but
my fantasy booking just beat the guys that he doesn't beat. That's how he gets over.
At a certain point, the end of the conversation is, well, what do we think they can do? And you have to fantasy
beat
book.
Page, beat Pac finally, beat Moxley, beat things, and then like that's it. That's how you get like Roman Reigns as tribal chief works. Why? Because he beats every fucking buddy. No one has beaten him. Not a fucking soul. And before, people beat him.
You know, white guys weren't like,
Braun Strowman could beat him. Like, yeah. Just book your wrestlers to win sometimes when it. Yeah. Again, that's why when Cesaro came over, people are like, oh, you mean the guy who couldn't win over there was supposed to buy over here? Like,
there's shit. I'm gonna say this, Drip. Patreon be so real. There's a WWE show, Extreme Rules. There's Full Gear, as well as Raw in Brooklyn. They're all happening like within the same month. I'm gonna be pissed if by the end of November I didn't hit one of those shows.
Oh,
but
really?
Well, like, all right.
I said we should have gone to Full Gear, but I don't even know if I can even make it out there.
Hey, I've never been to an AEW show at all. So going to Full Gear in Newark is mid. Timing may be an issue.
Yeah, it'll probably be I think it is a Sunday show, unfortunately.
Raw and I may be going out of town that week. Raw in Brooklyn is the 10th. It's like right before my birthday, but I don't be out at the Barclays. But also, Extreme Rules on October 8th is in Philly. And I can get Philly is not a problem for me.
That was supposed to be our trip until plans fell through.
If I really just want to go to Extreme Rules to see Liv Morgan and Stat Guy Greg. Like, I'm trying to go there for the two of them. If I can't make it happen, because I don't at this point, I can't pay for a skybox, but I also don't know what my work is going to be. But either way, to see the one of the two of them that close to me, I need to go to Extreme Rules. Anyway, Drip, are we out of here?
Yeah, I think we should get out. Where can people find you on social media?
At Cal on Twitter, but most importantly, at Black Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. BlackWrestling.com is the website, but as always, you can find a Black Wrestling podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling every Thursday, 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. IlFam79, Cal, Mimi, Drip, and Math. We are live, some semblance of us, to talk about the pro wrestling that went on that week. And then we drop it on the YouTubes. It's a lot of fun. Peace to the super chat. Peace to anybody that checks it out. But as always, I'm glad I'm more awake than I was last week to have a conversation with Drip about anything.
That's the thing. I made sure we got to stop doing the late night recordings.
Late nights can be, the thing is late nights can be a lot because
late nights after a long day, I should say.
Today, I was talking to Keeks. Sunday's about to be grind time. Like football season, I'm trying to do when the timeline's going crazy about the 49ers or the Bills or whoever is going on. I'm trying to have at least a couple of podcasts stored so we can have some fun stuff to drop in off. But we'll figure it out. I think
that's the thing. That's again with me having to do
it's just schedules.
Banks versus Davis, and then
White
Noise on the weekend as well, and then
Drip quitting a podcast. Well, a podcast ending, and then y'all bringing it back. How long was y'all dead? Like 2 months?
Don't ask me why I make stupid decisions, because then I'll just be here.
It's fine.
Forever.
No, it's fine. He called me a stupid decision. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's all good.
No,
I think
we didn't. I didn't end this podcast. Like,
no,
this is when I'm coming back to only do this in the regular show.
Drip said this is my only podcast. He said, no, I'm doing 2 more. Nah, but I think you guys doing BVD is good. You guys be able to grow and do that is awesome. Anyway, where can the people?
2 years.
Well, yeah,
BVD today.
I'm about to say y'all just dropped a 2-year anniversary show, right?
Yeah. So by the time people are watching this on Patreon, that's available on our YouTube. We have a Patreon as well, Banks versus Davis, where we'll do bonus content. The 2-year anniversary episode was about 2000s movies. Just how amazing that year, that decade was to the previous decade, and how, our favorite movies from that decade as well. But Banks versus Davis on YouTube, Banks versus Davis on Patreon, at the BVD Pod on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip, Instagram Davis Colton DC. Like how says Black Wrestling, YouTube every single Thursday. On the YouTube, we also got Something Else every single Wednesday with Lovely LeVeaux and Fam. And then on Fridays, Where's Buffy podcast. By the time this is dropping, we'll be able to watch that.
Yeah, by the time,
shout out to Brock, Diz,
if
Math,
Fam. if you're not hold up. I'm sorry, Trey. I'm sorry because you're not a part of this. I'm sorry. If you're not subscribed to the youtube.com/Black Wrestling, you've not seen every Friday for the last month. We've been dropping throwback Where's Buffy video. International Podcast Day is September 30th, Friday. By the time this podcast is out for free on YouTube, this would have already happened. But
yeah,
tune in. I guess Fridays, 8:30ish.
I have an image of Fam. Well, not Fam. I might send it to Vin for Photoshop. It's an image of Thanos with the gauntlet on and four of the stones.
Yeah, we're getting there.
This Fam has Blackwatch, Something Else, BRP, and Where's Buffy?
You got the. You just need one more stone. I
Two,
think
it's the one on the thumb and the one on the top of the hand.
Right, he needs to start another podcast. Either way,
and he produced. I guess he was producing Bulls, right? Bulls in the China Shop. Is that kind of his?
That bounces back. We got to make more episodes of that though for that to be a stone. I think. But either way, International Podcast Day, September 30th, 8:30 p.m. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling. Where's Buffy? Will start the weekly live shows. Those shows will be. It'll be a different Where's Buffy than what you previously saw. If you go Where's Buffy on YouTube, all types of stuff gets talked about over there. It's going to be a little more focused. It's going to be a little doper, but it's also going to not change what made Where's Buffy unique. But either way, September 30th, Friday nights, youtube.com/Black Wrestling. We're going to be giving you first runs of Where's Buffy as well as much more. But that's for future discussions. Drip, is there anything else we got to get into before we get out of here?
Again, shout out to all the patrons. Again, this is a Patreon exclusive first, and also is Blackwatch, like I just mentioned. Fools in the China Shop when it happens. Any of the bonus content we'll be doing, like Black Wrestling Podcast Club. You might have to do a Sting Great Muda episode finally after you've been talking about it, I think, your whole life.
My whole life, I've been talking about how amazing Sting versus Muda was in the Power Hour, and then Muda shows up on Rampage. Oh my God, Sting versus Muda! So yeah, I've been talking about this for fucking. I'm sorry.
We also will probably be doing something like we talked about Wakanda Forever. We'll finally probably do that Black Panther watch along at some point on the Patreon.
A Black Panther watch along?
That's what you had said.
But I've not.
This was your idea.
I've not thought about it. That's a good idea. We should do that.
Oh my God! You literally said this like 3 weeks ago when we talked about Black Panther.
3 weeks ago would have been the beginning of September. Again, Drip, like we said at the beginning. It's been a long.
You're too busy breaking news about war games. I know.
Hey, war games, we should do a Black Panther watch along, just like a Raina watch. If you're subscribed to the Patreon, patreon.com/Black Wrestling, pay to 1, pay to 10. The Raina watch along is going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Let's get through the Where's Buffy.
When I had to drink my own Steel Reserve, yeah.
If you drink it, that's only half. It's like maybe 40 minutes. I gotta figure out. I bought the movie on Amazon. If I could download the file,
here's what's probably gonna happen. We're probably gonna have to. It's not gonna be like a regular. We're gonna probably stop it, do like some telestration. We're gonna break it and probably have to rewatch it all the way through. We're probably gonna do like a breakdown while watching. Like stop it right here. Laugh at whatever Math or Fam just said and how they look.
We're gonna have to do,
and then run it back and watch it all the way through. That's probably what's gonna have to happen because the first watch isn't gonna. We're not gonna be able to get through it without like. Again, watching the trailer, we had to stop and go because
I can download. Hold up. Open. If I can download the file.
To. Oh.
We'll figure it. We got to get out of here. We'll figure this out. Yeah. Drip, thank you for coming through as always.
I gotta thank you for coming. This is my show, and you're the man behind the machine. I'm just the dude who shows up to sing the song.
This past Thursday was a lot.
I love me some Steel Reserve.
I woke up Friday. I had a little
Kal-El, the man of Steel Reserve.
I didn't think about Kal-El.
I said that on the show. That's how out of it you were.
No, in fact,
everything was in 1 ear, and you were like, huh?
I don't use like the built-in Superman reference with my nickname that I should, but Kal-El, the man of Steel Reserve, is really good. It's really good. Thank you, Drip, as always. It's been fun.
Episode 14.
Episode 14 is crazy. I don't know what episode 15 is going to be. Hopefully, y'all are tuned in.
Yeah, either CM Punk. When I dropped that trailer, it was CM Punk, Orange Cassidy, the 49ers, Undisputed Era, Carmelo Hayes, Finn Balor. There's some other topics that can come to mind too, but
I need a Finn Balor.
I have 2 Finn Balor ones. Because there was that article I wrote last year, remember? Mm-hmm. That you never published on the site.
You want me to publish it?
Not now, no. Plus, I'm insecure about my writing. No, I'm saying I'll use that as the basis for the episode. It'll be the template.
When I tell you how many interviews I've done,
it'll be like the second part is Finn Balor. It was all about Finn Balor in NXT the second time, and the second Finn Balor episode can be Finn Balor prior to and after that.
Well, how about this?
This man's still a bum, as people like people would say.
White Noise is one of the shows that I know y'all watch on Patreon. Y'all want a Finn Balor episode? Do y'all want to
get it?
What I'm saying, Finn Balor. What else is going on?
CM Punk in AEW.
CM Punk in AEW. Finn Balor.
Undisputed Era. And that might coincide more with War Games, to be honest, given how this will be a War Games list. Again, another War Games of Undisputed Era, the Gods of War.
We'll hold off on.
You mean to tell me they're not?
You're not wrong. They've worked them.
They ran been able to, Cal. They was running. We was kings back
then. They've been able to work themselves into a 4 horseman position because Triple H understands what it is. But either way, maybe
that's what I really missed out about not being with y'all from the beginning. Is like because Undisputed Era showed up mid 2017 when you guys are 6-7 months in.
We were running.
I would have just badgered y'all to death about the Undisputed
I was not watching this.
Man, because it takes 2 years to be like. For a match, like, can we have an honest discussion about the undefeated?
But it was always.
And then you're like,
we would make a
say your piece.
We'd make a comment about them, but someone would tweet, be like, why y'all hating the UE? I'm like, I don't care about the UE, but because y'all mentioning it, fuck the UE. Like, I don't care.
Like, because they frat boys.
But what happened was. Because I didn't like them initially and people were confused, I started watching. I'm like, wait, I really don't like them. So it's really a battle. Like
Matt were adamant, but Devil's Advocate fan was like, no, I actually think they're pretty good. Like how he always says whenever someone does a whole rant about for or against something, fans going to be the I on the other hand.
Nah, you got to you always have to hear both sides. But wait, where was Bobby Fish showed up? Where?
Oh God! Don't even like. at the old folks' home.
Was it an old folks home?
I mean, it's Impact. No offense to
Bobby Fish,
some of the wrestlers that are there that we like a lot.
Victory Road.
Eesh.
I saw that video this morning, and
then when he walked to the back, they're like, "Oh, and he's injured." Like
he's injured.
No, I'm saying it's like CM Punk with him at this point. Like he'll have a match and he'll get hurt. Like Bobby Fish isn't built to last. Again, they're the same age.
And he was hurt. Nah, he looked every bit of old man.
Yeah.
No pun
All
intended.
the Just for Men isn't going to hide the fact that we know we can look up your age. That goes for Keith Lee. That goes for Edge. That goes for a number of people who do the dye job. Chris Jericho is the most egregious one of them all, though.
But Keith Lee's, and mind you, I'm a man that's bald.
No. Keith Lee showed up on NXT one time with the full gray beard hair, and then the next week when it was time for the match, she was like painted on. Cal, it was
he's got
egregious.
His forehead is definitely like sketched out. It's sketched out. You can tell
it's like
that
the Etch-a-Sketch when you haven't fully erased it.
He's got hair here. He's got hair here, but I saw those lights don't hide the. I don't care how black it is. It's shit's up in here, and because I've been there. His whole shit is reconstructed, but he'll have to make that decision if he's gonna Bobby Fish. Look, he looks so spicy.
Like, you ain't fooling anyone with your Just for Men mustache and go.
He looks like he has a
fake ass Wyatt Earp.
Looks like he's got a waist holder to put his like phone on, like clipped on his belt.
Oh, he's one of those. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, Twitter lights him up every day with like, Bobby Fish was there when they signed the Declaration of Independence. Like,
I can't do that to him.
It's like when they say like Keith Lee's the type of dude to read a book by the fire and like lick the page when he turns it. Like that's.
Wait, Drip. Did we get your socials out the way? We're gonna.
Yeah. We're at this point. We're just bantering.
No, we got to get out of here.
But that's what the people want to hear. When we had these conversations after the show, we just never able to do it because we.
This is literally the last 10 minutes have been after the show, just so y'all clear. But anyway.
Yeah, we gotta have to carry that over to the main show, but like we probably get at a point where like, nope, we're in trouble now.
No, we get in trouble. It'd be a problem.
We'll see y'all next time. White Noise. Peace.